I'm going to introduce you to my team, and then I'll introduce my team to you. So Kimber Benbow is the assistant manager at our West Jordan store, and she just joined us. She's an external hire, and she just joined us in Q4. Josh Jones is in our Pocatello store, and he was a promotion in Q4. Taylor Bowen is also a promotion in Q4, and he's in our Sandy store. Chuck Tyson is a promotion in Q4, so we have lots of promotion to ASM in the last quarter. And then Corey Gifford is our most recent ASM, and he is Q1. So thank you guys all for joining us, especially those of you who are joining us from home. And then I wanted to tell you a little bit about our group. This is the Kaysville group of the Executive Master's Program up from Utah State, and we're all currently getting our Masters of Science in Human Resources. And so I have Greg Taylor and Darren Williams and Jeff Draper and Spencer Tippett are all with us today, and they're all going to take part in the presentation. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about how we go from our new associate, who is so excited to come to the team, to the next slide. How are we getting from that brand new associate to this hot water so quickly? So out of about 195, 52 that left were leaving in the very first 90 days. That's 25% of our group that we lost. And then we lost another 29 in the first 6 months. So virtually we've lost a third of our associates, and no store can afford that kind of turnover. Without exit interviews, we don't know exactly why they're leaving on their own, or if they just decided to abandon their positions due to attendance issues.
And before you can really enter the deep change process, you first need to commit to an internal change or a change from within. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. There's two types of change: incremental change and deep change. I'm going to relate a story of a gal named Gail. This is basically a group of people, kind of like in an AA meeting where they're sharing personal stories. But this gentleman named Bob talks about a couple that have an abusive relationship. And the housewife, Gail, she's used to being verbally, emotionally, and physically abused by her husband. Ahead of the rest of the people, we're internally closed. We stay in our comfort zones. We're externally directed. We define myself by how I am seen. We're comfort-centered, engage in problem-solving activities, living in a proactive state. So we really want to get out of this state. We want to have the light bulb turn on. Once that light bulb turns on, we move into what we call the fundamental state of leadership.
I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about team building and kind of to lead this off. I wanted to discuss a few characteristics about leaders that are effective at building strong and cohesive teams. The first thing I wanted to talk about is moral power. And you may not really know what moral power means, but we'll get into some more detail about that. Strong team leaders wield moral power. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about is strong leaders are positive and group interested when they're leading a group. And finally, strong leaders change themselves and invite members of their group to change themselves as well. The second thing I wanted to touch on was leadership and positivity. I mentioned that strong team leaders are positive. Everyone knows that human beings are very selfish kind of by nature, so it's a constant problem that we have to try and overcome self-interest when team members would rather focus on what's best for them than what's best for the team. So positive and effective leaders inspire others to transcend their own self-interest and work for the good of the team. a positive emotion coming from the leader is contagious to the team as well.
I mean, whatever station you happen to be in life, we're all at different places on this journey, and so just to kind of create an analogy for you, think of it as a road that you're on, and things you haven't experienced before, maybe difficulties you're going to have to cope with. You kind of relate that to you individually as you go to work and have the experiences that you have every day interacting with team members or clients or vendors or customers in the store, whatever it is. These challenges that we're faced with put us in a position where we can either act like what Greg talked about. We can act in just the traditional, the normal way, the same way we've always done it, or we can look for new opportunities, opportunities that will help solve long-term issues. And I just want to encourage you to develop your own personal mission statement and a vision statement. And so what I've done is come up with, okay, these are the characteristics that I need to minimize in my life. I mean, ideally you want to get rid of these characteristics and replace them with what's on the following slide, represented by the yin-yang symbol there and how we achieve balance. So by eliminating, greed and weakness and cowardice and mindlessness, insensitivity, those things that they're listed there, it should be obvious, yeah, those are things I want to get rid of. But you've got to, it's not just a matter of getting rid of them, it's replacing them with something. Last thing I wanted to talk about as we're on this journey, this road together, and we're moving toward this fundamental state of leadership, is as we're on this road, the road could be symbolized by an uphill climb, like going up the side of a mountain, because that the uphill climb represents challenge. And anytime you're on a hike or on a drive through a canyon or around in these parts anyway, you've got lots of ups and downs, and you get to these plateaus. And the plateaus, if you're hiking, the plateau is a great place. That's kind of where you're striving to. That's your initial target, because you want to get there so you can rest and recover, regain some strength, reevaluate where you're at. But it also puts you in a position where you have a better view of what's around you and where you want to go next. And of course, this is an analogy with where you're at in your lives and in your careers. And by accomplishing the different challenges that we face every day, we're able to get on these plateaus, and they're good things. What is it that it's going to take to get individuals to recognize that they have inside them what it is that they need? It's just a matter of recognizing it and implementing it and finding the tools to share that with others.
How does all of this fundamental state of leadership and moral power, and how does all of this relate to new hire turnover? And they're in a leadership mindset, and that's a mindset where if the bad things that come their way, they'll figure out a way to get it done, and they'll do it with positivity and show others that it can be done that way. We talked about change from within, and you might have been thinking, well, how does this relate? Well, it relates because by making personal change, you become someone for whom people want to work. If you have a work environment where if you make personal change and you make that your work environment, people will want to work for you. So how will you know if you are effective? You noticed how many people left Office Max for a better opportunity. How can we make Office Max the better opportunity, the place where people want to stay? Where are you personally with regards to the fundamental state of leadership? I want you to think about that and think about ways that you can make personal change so that you can create the kind of environment where people will want to work. And so we're going to open it now for questions. If you have any questions, we're going to open it now for you.
So Corey, you're brand new. What do you think you can do to help your team? I know there's been quite a few attendance issues in that store.
There has, yeah. You know, just what I just said. You know, my passion as a person, and especially my degree, is teaching. You know, I strive to teach for understanding, and, you know, I study behaviorism. And, you know, for me, I've done 2 corrective actions since I've been at that store, and I've been there for a month and a half. You know, it's showing the team that we care, for one thing. You know, we don't bring people in and just to scold them to get them out of our store. You know, we strive to better develop them as associates and show that we care for their future. And it seems to be working so far. You know, we build that. It's just like he was just saying. You build the trust, and you build a better team. And once they have faith in you as a leader, they don't want to disappoint you.
Any other thoughts?
I was going to say, I like the subject of deep change because that can go either way. I think of a deep change as a fear of change overcome by how bad or good a situation is. And so we can go either way. We can make it a bad situation here at work where we're not positive, we don't have those stable leadership, or we're supporting our employees to where they don't want to come. Or we can make this an environment where they want to make that change, overcome that fear of change to be here on time, because this is an environment where they feel they contribute, they progress, and they grow. And so I think